Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Martin Dreyfuss Show. Today, Walt Disney is probably turning over in his grave as he watches everything he built potentially crumble to the ground. Now, as we all know, Disney CEO is battling the Florida government over the Don't Say Gay bill, and in turn, now the Florida government is responding by potentially removing the Disney government, the Disney county, from Florida legislation and just making it another part of Florida. The reason, of course, this is a big deal is the whole reason Walt Disney built Disney World in Florida was for this county, to make his own taxes, to have his own government, to be able to have more control of his park, to have Walt Disney World. And now in 2022, we are watching that literally crumble to the ground, and it's kind of blowing my mind. One, because I don't understand the issue with the bill, and I'm asking that bluntly because I know there's a lot of protests, and I know there's a lot of things going on with it, and I need enlightenment from you. From my understanding, the bill is saying we shouldn't teach elementary students, so K through 5, about sexual orientation and about sex, and if they're heterosexual, homosexual, or transgender. And in my opinion, that's correct, right? I mean, at 5, 6, 7 years old, you don't care or know about sex, and we shouldn't be pushing that on our children at such a young age, potentially influencing them in a way that they aren't, whether that's, maybe I am straight, maybe I am gay, maybe I am trans, and then come to find out when you're 18 years old, you just don't feel that way. There was actually an example of a boy that turned into a girl by his parents at a very young age, and then when he was 18 or 20, that girl at that time who transitioned from a boy wanted to transition back into a boy. So he didn't know any better at that young age and went through all of these transitions at a very young, influential age when he truthfully didn't know any better. So to my knowledge, I don't see the problem with the bill, but there could be more to it that I don't understand. And if there is, I'd appreciate it if you enlightened me. And if there really isn't, then maybe explain why everyone is so against the bill, because to me, it kind of makes sense. Anyway, without further ado, this is what's going on between the CEO battling Florida lawmakers, because this is literally a foundation of Florida and the foundation of what Walt Disney did in his life. So.
Now on News 6 at 5:30, a battle over Florida's Don't Say Gay bill could mean big changes for Disney World. A Florida Republican says meetings are underway to strip Disney of a long-standing perk. Glad you're with us. I'm Ginger Gadsden.
And I'm Matt Austin. After Disney leaders stood up against the Republican-backed legislation, Governor Desantis had this to say today.
For Disney to come out and put a statement and say that the bill should have never passed and that they are going to actively work to repeal it, I think, one, was fundamentally dishonest, but two, I think that crossed the line.
Now, one lawmaker says meetings are being held to discuss the future of Disney's.
Do you think that was crossing the line? Maybe. That's definitely a private corporation single-handedly saying we are going to try to influence the state of law. So from that perspective, it is absolutely crossing the line, right? Regardless of what bill it is and what's going on, no corporation should ever be able to do that, which a lot of them do, and no corporation should ever be able to publicly, blatantly say that either. So
Reedy Creek. So for decades, it's been allowed. Disney has been allowed to act as its own government, basically. And as News 6's Carolina Cardona explains, that could soon be changing.
In effect, they're their own city out there. They can zone the way they want. They can do things the way they want.
The Reedy Creek Improvement District, created by state lawmakers in 1967, acts as Walt Disney World's own government, with 2 cities and land in Orange and Osceola counties.
This is important. When Walt Disney built this, the whole point was you have to be a resident of, in this case, Reedy Creek to vote. And there was no residents of Reedy Creek, so they were by default, able to make decisions, zone how they please, make the parks how they please, and not have to jump through all the loopholes to get things done. Just kind of speedily build everything, get it done, and it's theirs. They can create their own tax laws to an extent, amongst other things. So if they get stripped of this, not only is this going to affect how Disney World expands, how Disney World works and operates, but it could drastically affect, how Disney World is run, the price to go to Disney World, on top of the fact that it could maybe close down parts of Disney World depending on, how Florida is going to change their zoning laws and everything, if they please.
I think this is a feud that is escalating into a war between Florida Republicans and the Disney Corporation, which is the largest single-site employer in Florida.
A feud that started after Governor Ron Desantis signed into law the Don't Say Gay bill, according to News 6 political analyst.
How can you have 5-year-olds clapping about something? They don't know what the hell is going on. They might not want their face on that TV in 20 years about the Don't Say Gay bill. Like, come on, DeSantis.
Jim Clark.
For Disney to come out and put a statement and say that the bill should have never passed and that they are going to actively work the line.
Disney has been extremely generous with Republican politicians in Florida. They give about $200,000 a year, including $12,000 to the state representative who is stirring this up.
He's talking about Florida House Republican Spencer Roach.
Well, that's another problem, that we believe that corporations can buy their way to legislative sovereignty, essentially. I don't give a damn who they pay. That shouldn't prevent anybody from anything. But that's America for you.
Who tweeted legislators have held 2 meetings in the past week to discuss repealing the 1967 Reedy Creek Improvement Act.
It would be a disaster for Disney. One of the reasons they came here in the mid-60s was the legislature's promise that they could have self-government.
It wasn't one of the reasons, it was the biggest reason.
Hoped that we could build something that would command the respect of the community.
Richard Fogelsong is a retired political science professor and author of the book Married to the Mouse.
I think that cooler minds will prevail and that this is really a shot across the bow to try to bring the Disney company, Mickey Mouse if you will, into line with Governor DeSantis.
I reached out to Reedy Creek Improvement District and they said they have no comment at this time. I also requested an interview with Representative Spencer Roach, but his office hasn't gotten back to me.
Well, there's no surprise there. They don't want to talk to you, Carolina Cardona. Obviously developing. I hope the guy is right. Cooler heads prevail. I mean, it's literally a dick showing contest that's going to, cost Disney millions to billions of dollars and cost Florida millions to billions of dollars. And I mean, if Disney has any balls like Walt Disney had, they'll fucking up and move that shit to somewhere else real quick. We'll see, man. That's insane. We could literally be watching the collapse of the happiest place on earth right before our very eyes.